Well, today's video should be a fun one, guys. My best and worst financial decisions I have ever made in my life. That is what we are doing here today, guys. Some of these, if you follow me very closely, some of these you may know, some of them you may not know. So that's what today's video is all about, and hopefully this video inspires some of you guys, and hopefully you kind of learn from some of the things I've done in my life that have been really good decisions and really bad decisions. So I hope this video helps you. Let's get into it. All right, guys, the first one under the best category would be stock market, getting involved with the stock market. And this one's ranked number one by far, guys. The decision I made to get in the stock market in 2008, 2009 was by far the best financial decision I ever made, okay? Because one, I wouldn't even be here in front of you, but never mind that, like how much that changed my life financially forever, okay? Some of the stocks I just was thinking of while I was writing this, Cab, Trinity Industries, Monster, Cirrus Logic, Wynn Resorts, all those stocks I made 5 figures plus on. None of those gains would have ever happened if I didn't make the decision to get in the stock market. And when I got in the stock market, it was the hardest time to get in because everything was crashing. The economy was going into shambles. Everybody said, stay away from that. It's a bad place, blah, blah, blah. And it was a hard decision because, everybody was saying, stay away, don't go into that. That's a scam. That's not going to work out for you. Look at what the market's done the past 3 months or 5 months or whatever. And, I just kind of went against the grain. And I looked at it from the perspective of, there's a lot of money to be made by owning corporations who make a lot of money, okay, and who will profit more in the future. Yeah, everything's down right now, but things are going to come back. The U.S. economy always comes back, and that's just the way the world works, and it's been like that. I looked at history, and what does history say to us? Every single time the stock market's ever dropped in the history of it, it's bounced back much, much higher, a year later, a couple years later. That's just the way things work. So, my decision to get in the stock market, it changed me forever, not just because of the money I made, okay, not just because of that, but from the perspective of it gave me a goal always to save more money and funnel more money into my accounts because there was something to gain there, which was something that could be way bigger than just, let me try to save an extra $100 this month. It was more like, no, let me try to save $500 this month because I want to funnel that into this account here where hopefully I can make that $500 into $700 and then into $900, then into $1,000 and so on and so forth, guys. So that decision, it's paramount to me. It's the biggest financial decision I ever made that was, paid out, I don't know how much we could talk about, but it's done so much for me. It's changed my whole life. So that is definitely the first one. Another one of the best financial decisions I ever made in my life, and this one's a huge one, it's applying for Quick Trip and being able to get hired at Quick Trip, working overnights as an assistant manager, okay? I was 20 years old, okay? And one day I was in a Quick Trip parking lot, gassing up, and I saw on their door, it said, hiring assistant manager starting at $39,000 or something like that. I'm like, really? And I was making $8.75 at that time working at Walgreens, okay? I was making $8.75, 20 years old. I was just finishing up with community college. My track season was finished and whatnot. And I'm like, this seems pretty interesting. So I eventually end up applying on there. I applied, I think it was 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning one night. I applied on this little crappy netbook I had at that time, right? And I applied for this job, okay, to hopefully make $40K starting the year. And lucky enough, they did hire me, okay? And that was a great financial decision because I learned so much about managing people and all those type of things. And working in management, I ended up getting promoted to higher volume stores, started making $50,000+ a year. I ended up getting promoted from there. I ended up moving out to the Carolinas and kind of seeing a whole different, way of life. Actually, living in the Carolinas was interesting because I lived in Charlotte, which was definitely a growing place. But I remember my wife and we would go down to South Carolina sometimes because she was someone that had to do alcohol stings. So basically, what would happen is, she was 22. She was my girlfriend at that time. She was 22 years old. So she would go on these alcohol stings, which basically she would just buy a single beer from a Quick Trip and try to see if the employees would ID her and whatnot. And that was, something she did and whatnot. And so we would drive all around South Carolina. And there's a lot of little factory towns and whatnot with these factories that have all been shut down and whatnot. And it just kind of opened up my mind to reality. And I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I always lived. So it was always growth, growth, growth. growth. Like if you know anything about Phoenix, it's just been a place that's grown like crazy ever since I was alive, right? So it was a different kind of mindset, kind of seeing, you know, the way the economy can fall in some places and the way, you know, industries can leave, and just kind of understanding the life and the death of some things. So, but anyways, like working at Quick Trip was phenomenal because I got to save so much more money and got to funnel so much more money in my accounts than I ever would have if I was doing anything else at those particular ages, because, you know, I didn't really have any other prospects at that particular time. So it was so valuable to me, and one of the best financial decisions I ever made. Another one of the best financial decisions I ever made in my life, guess what it is? You're watching it. Starting a YouTube channel. Starting a YouTube channel, but not just starting it. Starting it and sticking with it. Not just starting it and sticking with it, but always like applying things and trying to figure out what's the best way to do this and do that. I knew nothing about YouTube. When I started my financial education channel in January 2016, I knew nothing about YouTube other than I watched YouTube. I didn't know about tags and titles and like thumbnails and anything. I didn't have any conception of like how to be successful on YouTube or grow a YouTube channel or anything. I studied. I worked my butt off. I posted video after video, and it was great. If I just helped 10, 20 people a day, like cool, that's freaking awesome, right? But as far as like taking it to a place where I could actually make a living from it, that took a massive amount of work and a massive amount of dedication and belief that it could all work out in the end, because it took me over 9 months, 9 or 10 months, just to go from basically starting to about 1,000 subscribers, okay? Basically, my entire first year on YouTube, I made nothing. I basically made nothing in my entire first year on YouTube, guys. I produced a video almost every single day. Like I think I made about 300 videos or so in that first year, right? And I made pretty much no money at all. I think I might have made $100 or $150 because AdSense started to kind of get paid out. I think it was October or November that year. But basically, it's like minuscule money, like made probably like a penny an hour based upon the amount of work I put in. I didn't have any products to sell at that time to help out the revenue. And obviously, I wasn't getting nearly enough views to like, you know, actually like bring in money or whatnot. So I went for a year, basically made no money from this thing. And it was the best financial decision I ever made because I stuck with it. I kept trying to get better and better, and you know, it all worked out, and now we're here with I don't know, 125,000 subscribers, and we gain, I don't know, 400, 500 subscribers a day pretty much, and it's crazy. And you know, the channel gets 30,000, 40,000 views pretty much day in and day out, and it's changed my life. And I'm thankful I made the decision to start it, and I'm thankful I made the decision to stick with it, and I'm thankful I made the decision that I was always wanting to get better and better and better as time went on, because like I said, it's changed my life, and it's one of the best financial decisions I ever made. The next best financial decision I ever made in my life was deciding to sell my own products on the channel rather than sponsored products and do sponsorships and those type of things. This has been by far the most recent financial decision I made, which basically around, you know, starting to get into 2017, the channel was building and building and building more momentum. And it was like, okay, I can start taking this more serious now and actually maybe start making, you know, a good sum of money from this. But the only way I'm going to do it is not just from AdSense, because AdSense, we know, is so inconsistent. It doesn't pay out, you know, nearly enough for how much work you put into it, right? So it's like, okay, so either I'm going to have to do sponsored products and try to sell other people's things on my channel, or I can try to sell my own products that I actually believe in, that I made myself, that, you know, I think are the best in the world, right? And I made that decision, and that was a phenomenal decision. And it was a hard decision because it was like, I could go the way of selling my own products, right? And creating them and doing all those type of things, which was like, are they going to sell? Am I going to put all this time into it? You know, like this book took me several months to do, right? There's a course I'm working on right now that's like me basically giving away a decade of stock market experience in one course, right? This course is like 4 months in the making, okay? This course, like so much plotting and ideas and like all this planning and videos and whatnot. That's a hard decision to make because you don't know if it's going to pay off. You don't know if people are going to buy it and whatnot. It's much easier just to take sponsorship money and, you know, somebody says, oh, you know, pitch my course or pitch my book or whatever they want to do, or, you know, my service or product or whatever, and put that on your channel. I'll pay you $500. That's so much easier. It's so much easier to like do it that way. But in my opinion, it's just not the best way, and it's not the best way long term in my personal opinion. Everything I sell on my channel, I believe in 100% because I'm the one that made it, okay? There's no like thing that I sell that I'm I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm not too sure about that, but you know what? They offered me $1,000 to pitch this to my audience, and man, that's a lot of money just to pitch this idea. Okay, I'll just pitch that. No. Like everything I sell on my channel is mine and nothing else. And it was definitely a good decision for me, and you know, it's paid off financially, and it got myself to a point where I could quit my real estate marketing company and just focus on YouTube and YouTube related products full time now. And that would have never been possible without basically creating my own products or doing something there, guys. So definitely a great financial decision. All right, guys, the last and most recent best financial decision I have made in my life was starting my private stock market group. Third link in the description, by the way. That was a phenomenal financial decision I made there. And I got a lot of pushback when I first launched it. It was like, oh, Jeremy, you know, I don't see the value in that and this and that. And I got a lot of pushback from that. And I'm kind of happy I got that pushback just because it made me even want to try to make that group even more valuable and more valuable. And that's exactly what I've been able to do in that group. Now we have over 300 members, and the group's only, I think, 4 or 5 months old. So the way that group has grown month after month after month is phenomenal. Not only that, but the audience retention in there, as far as like people actually staying in the group, is off the charts, like so much better than I ever expected. And you know, the ability for me to teach people on Mondays, basically I post videos in there every Monday. That's an exclusive video where I teach them something about the stock market. On Fridays, I basically talk about a whole bunch of stock stories going out there. And then I post anytime I actually sell a stock or buy a stock, I post that same exact day in the group on what stock I bought or sold and why I decided to make that decision and whatnot. So, and not only that, but people can communicate with others in that group. There's a ton of serious stock market investors in there that can communicate with each other and communicate with me, because I'm pretty much respond to every single comment in that group. So it's just been phenomenal environment to kind of grow myself and grow something off of YouTube. That's another huge thing. Like the way I look at it from a financial perspective, it's great to, you know, that, you know, everybody's happy in that group and we have a great time and learn from each other and whatnot. But the bigger things for as far as financially goes, building something off of YouTube, which was very important for me, because everything I'm selling on YouTube is like, you know, you watch a YouTube video and I try to sell one of my products. And what if YouTube all of a sudden one day said, they've got all the power, YouTube's got all the power. What if one of the day they go, we're not going to allow any more investing type videos on YouTube. No more real estate investing, no more stock market investing, no more business related videos, nothing like that. We don't want that on YouTube anymore. Like, what am I going to do at that point? I would be screwed. But because of the stock market membership group, I have all these members over here that basically, you know, it's not relying upon YouTube at all. I don't, you know, if YouTube went away tomorrow, I would still be okay, because I got 300 plus members in the stock market group over there. Also, from another perspective of, you know, recurring revenue, where YouTube revenue, right, we know it goes up and down. 1 month it could be great, next month it could be bad, because, you know, some stupid big YouTuber makes a really bad decision and then it kills off the ads for everybody. That's happened several times now, right? And that hurts everybody very badly. Like, if something like that happens, who gets hurt from that? Me. I get hurt from that very badly, right? When somebody else makes a decision, it affects us all. All this, I'm becoming a bigger creator now, but I'm still a small creator compared to the giants that caused the problems out there and whatnot, right? So, you know, that's something to take into account. Also, you know, course sales and book sales and whatnot, you know, those can fluctuate. One day it could be good, one day it could be bad. The stock market membership group is a consistent revenue stream for me. So from a financial perspective, it was about diversification, and it was about, you know, growing a consistent revenue stream that, you know, some stupid YouTuber that, you know, is super big can't make a mistake and all of a sudden it kills all my revenue because of something they did, you know, taking a video in a forest or I don't know, saying the N-word on a live stream or whatever the, you know, the YouTubers have done, or wearing Nazi costumes. Whatever these big YouTubers have done that have caused, you know, revenue to get dragged down time and time again, you know, and those decisions will continue to be made by them. So it was paramount for me to build something off of YouTube that, you know, I really wanted to do. So absolutely, this is one of the best financial decisions I ever made. All right, guys, we talked about the fun ones, the best financial decisions I ever made. Now we've got to talk about the worst financial decisions I ever made, okay? The first one that comes to mind is leaving QT, but not just leaving QT. Like, I don't regret that at all. Like, leaving QT, I don't regret it at all. But when I left QT, I had no other income sources, okay? That I do regret. That should not have been a decision I made. I should have already had some passive income sources or something built up before I made that decision to leave. To just leave the company and have no income sources and think I could just grow my stock market accounts to infinity was, I think, a little bit ignorant on my part there. It was not just a little bit, it was a lot ignorant on my part. It was a very bad decision. I should have had something going, some type of passive income stream, some type of way of making money that income could be coming in, other than just basically, I'm trying to invest and make money, because what I was having to do is to pay all the bills and whatnot. I was having to funnel money out of my investment accounts into basically my bank account so I could pay bills and whatnot, so which would make my accounts go down even further, which would put more pressure on me and things like that. That was a really, really bad decision. I should have had some type of other income sources when I went to leave Quick Trip. The next worst financial decision I ever made was basically short-term and margin trading in 2015. What a disaster that ended up turning out to. A lot of you guys probably already know this story, so I won't cover it too much, but basically, after I left Quick Trip, I had a lot of pressure on myself to try to build my accounts. I started a margin account. Then I start, panicking because, some of my stocks in that short term weren't doing so good. Never mind that. I was funneling money out of my accounts, to pay bills, as we just discussed on the last one, and basically it created a situation where I was just trying to chase bets and I was just starting to do short-term trading. I went against everything that ever made me successful, which long-term investing in companies made me successful. This whole, I'm going to try to play this company for earnings tomorrow and whatnot. I'm going to try to get in and out of the stock. Maybe the market can bounce back. We take advantage of that. Like that whole game, that's not what made me successful. I went away from everything that made me successful and just tried this short-term margin trading. I knew to never do on margin. Margins means take out debt to invest more money. Had to pay interest on that. I think I paid over $5,000 to Fidelity Investments in 1 year on margin interest, guys. On margin interest. That's how insane it got. Unbelievably bad decision. Obviously, I lost myself $75K, lost my wife over $25K. We lost over 6 figures combined together, and it was a dramatically horrible, bad decision. And it would all happen within the majority of the money that was lost happened within the first 6 to 9 months of the year, actually, because I ended up selling off everything around September of 2015, and then I ended up getting back in the markets in it was kind of early 2016. I started investing after I started my businesses and whatnot. But what a disaster, guys. Don't ever go away from everything that ever made you successful. That's all I got to say. It's a really bad decision, and don't ever mess with margin. And the last worst financial decision I ever made in my life, some of you guys probably know this one very well, and it is GoPro. Deciding I wanted to make a huge investment in GoPro Corporation. Started that investment sometime in late 2016, held through 2016, added a bunch of shares and made it my biggest position going into 2017. Horrible, horrible, horrible decision there. Basically, if I could frame it in some type of context, GoPro was a company that had so many opportunities to do so many things, and they failed at literally everything, okay? They failed at literally everything. And, I don't want to just blame GoPro on that. I also blame myself because I got involved with the company that at that time was not profitable. And I usually don't mess with companies that aren't profitable. I like profitable businesses that, year after year after year are profit machines, and, that it's consistent and whatnot. When I got in GoPro and I started adding shares like crazy, they were actually losing money at that time. I should have never even messed with it. But what I saw was all the potential with GoPro. They were getting in the media business, and maybe this could grow to be big. The drone business, they were growing accessories business. They were getting into all this stuff that maybe if they execute it properly, they could grow to be a massive corporation. And what they did is they failed at literally everything. They didn't succeed at anything. And, the drone business, they had to exit. They just failed across the board. The cameras, they were always a year behind of where I thought they should have been. It was just a failed investment on my part. It's by far the biggest loss I ever took as far as one particular stock. The biggest loss as far as the amount of money I ever lost in a year was 2015. 2015 was the only year I've ever actually lost money in the market. But 2017, I ended up having to take this, I guess I took it here at the beginning of 2018, the massive loss because I sold out of GoPro. And, it was just a horrible financial decision on my part, trying to hit a home run there. I would try to hit a home run, and mostly I focus on hitting doubles, and I try to hit the home run, and you see what happens. So don't try to hit home runs, kids, because when you do, it can tear you up pretty bad, as it did with me, guys. And, I don't know if I'll ever mess with a company that is not profitable again. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. I've tried to every single company I ever invest in, I think from here on, will be profitable. Because, and by the way, that was, I think, the first time, maybe the second time I had ever messed with the company that actually wasn't profitable, and they weren't supposed to be profitable anytime soon. So, you know, they failed across the board, and it is what it is, and it's definitely one of the worst financial decisions I ever made. It's certainly the worst stock market decision I ever made as far as one particular stock. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this today, kind of my best decisions, my worst decisions in my financial life. It's crazy. I'm 28 years old, and I've done more in my financial life than most people could ever dream in theirs. And it's, you know, it's been a crazy ride so far. And I'm happy everything's worked out the way it is. I'm happy, you know, I mean, it would be nice not to have taken those losses in 2015. It would have been nice not to take that loss with GoPro. And if I would have invested that money more in Wynn Resorts, which, you know, tore it up for me, or basically any stock I was involved with in 2017, in 2016, like any stock I was involved with was doing phenomenal, except that one particular stock. If I would have just, you know, had that money in one of those other stocks, you know, we'd be in a lot better situation than we are now. But it is what it is, guys. Everything's a learning experience, and you know, I'm happy it all worked out, because I'm in a better financial situation now than I've ever been in at any point in my life, and it's not even remotely close. So, you know, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope this inspired you. Hope you got a lot of value out of it. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.